Hey you guys, welcome to my page. My name is Kelly Howe. We are in some crazy times right now, and I wanted to welcome you all. I wanted to invite you all to my page for 5 days of doing what I can from home while this madness is playing out. Obviously it's probably going to take longer than 5 days, so I don't know, we'll see. My plan is to hit this every day and give you guys some resources, but maybe we'll keep it going. I don't know. If it's useful and helpful, definitely comment and let me know, and I'm way more likely to continue to help if I feel like people are actually getting something out of it. But welcome. This is just a bizarre time, and I know that like everyone, I've just been kind of sitting back and going, whoa, what is happening? And taking all of my skills for the last 10 years, I've been training, traveling all over the country with the top experts in the field of EFT or emotional freedom technique, and learning everything I can about how to help people manage their emotions, manage their stress, how to reset their nervous system when crazy things happen and after crazy things happen. And the reality is that the time period that we're in is a traumatic time period. It not only is bringing up a lot of current fear, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of worry, but the way that traumas work, the way that traumatic times work, is that it actually draws up all of the old stuff, the old traumas as well. So for example, if you are feeling a lot of that, if you really lean in and try to tune in and recognize, wow, there's a lot of powerlessness. I feel very hopeless and powerless. Everybody's different, but if that's what you're feeling, I want you to really start to think about, when have I felt like that before? And particularly people who have had times when they felt trapped and stuck, maybe had an abusive past, maybe were stuck in an unhappy marriage or an abusive marriage. That powerlessness and that hopelessness was overwhelming then, and as we re-experience it, the mind and the brain and the body kind of like lump it all together, and those neural pathways are all connected. So yes, we're dealing with stress now, but we're actually pulling up all of the stress of our past that hasn't been processed and hasn't been dealt with. So, anybody who has been doing work to kind of do the deep processing and reset their nervous system might be feeling a little more calm. I am, even though I'm still kind of looking at this whole thing going, this is insane. I'm not going to say I'm fearless, but if I look back to 10 years ago before I really started doing this work, things would have been really different. I would have been glued to the TV. I would have been in full-on panic, fear, probably crying, having anxiety attacks, or, I didn't realize at the time that that's what that was, but having a lot of physical symptoms. And, the reality is I know there's a lot of people going through that. So my hope is to give you guys some tools to use tapping, emotional freedom technique, to actually feel some of that freedom. Now, the goal with tapping is to actually honor the feelings, honor the stresses, honor the emotions, and reset the physical response to those feelings. So when we have a lot of fear, you'll feel a physical reaction to that, right? The heart rate increases, we'll feel tension in our muscles, we can feel a lot of different things, but sometimes it hits us in our gut, in our stomach, we get a sinking feeling or a knot in our stomach. It's different for everyone, but it's a very physical reaction. And I know that a lot of you probably have noticed that you're just not feeling right. Maybe you're shaky, you're jittery, and that is a stress response. That is fear kicking in. It's either fight, flight, or freeze, right? And our body is going, I either want to run out of here, I want to get out of here because this doesn't feel safe, or I want to freeze and, like a possum, and maybe if I stay still and don't do anything, this will all pass and I'll be okay. Or I want to fight. And you might have noticed there's a lot of anger floating around too. It's not just fear, but there's a lot of frustration and anger floating around. Rightfully so. We're all humans. We're all trying to deal with this. But there are so many things that we can do, and tapping is one of those things to help, honor the fear, honor the anger, move it through our system and reset. And a lot of times when you do the tapping, you'll notice that those emotions that were so high just feel farther away. They don't feel as rational. It's not inside of us in the physical reaction. So we're able to step away from it and come back into our rational thinking. And that's the thing with the stress response. In the fall, I guess it was in October or November, I did a couple of videos on boosting the immune system and how the immune system and the stress response kind of work against each other. And the reality is that stress draws resources away from our immune system. So the number one thing we can do right now, right, is to be diligent about our self-care, of course, washing hands, of course, you know, doing what we can in all those other ways to social distance and clean surfaces and just be cognizant of where we're touching and coughing and all that good stuff. But dealing with your stress is going to be a huge factor in keeping your immune system online. So I want to invite you to go back and check out those videos. I think it was a two-part video. One, I was talking about oregano essential oil, or oregano the herb is a very powerful antibacterial and antiviral you know, natural remedy. So, you know, you can check out that video. And the other one was all about the stress response in the vagus nerve and how that will help kind of keep your immune system online. Because when we're too stressed out, our body wants to fight and run away. It wants to divert all of its resources to, you know, pumping blood to our muscles and actually converting that energy into a space where we can use it to run or fight. And it doesn't really care about fighting a virus or a bacteria. So it will actually pull blood away from the gut. It diverts energy away from the immune system because the bigger threat feels like we need to run and get out of here. And right now we don't want that to happen, right? We want to feel safe enough that our body goes, okay, no, I really want to divert those resources to my immune system so that if this nasty thing comes along, I can actually fight it. And not go insane while I'm quarantined in my house. So, you know, so let's start doing a little bit of tapping. We're going to start today working on fear. There's a lot of other emotions. I think tomorrow we're going to work on frustration, anger, but we're going to start with fear. It seems to be the biggest right now. You know, when we're in that fight or flight state, that blood actually diverts away from that frontal cortex in our brain and goes down into the body, into those muscles so that we can fight or run away. And our rational thinking happens in that frontal cortex. So, you know, we want blood there. We want to be able to think. We want to be able to make rational decisions. We don't want to be reacting like a wild animal from that primal space in our brain, in the hindbrain, which is what's really, really active in fight or flight. We want to be in that conscious, you know, cognizant, making rational decisions place. So let's start with the tapping. I'm going to give you a crash course in what tapping is and kind of how it works, but mostly I want you to just get the experience of tapping and voicing the fear and seeing what that feels like when the body actually comes down out of that fight or flight response. So tapping is a method of clearing stress from the body, clearing stress from the mind. It is a neuroregulatory technique. So we're actually communicating, we're going to be tapping on the body. These are acupoints from Chinese medicine. This actually sends a calming signal through the body to the brain that interrupts the signals that are going on in there and starts to regulate them and calm them down, okay? So it looks kind of weird, it feels kind of weird. The first time I did this, I thought that it was a joke. Like, I couldn't believe that as a nurse I hadn't heard of this, but this is actually how it works, and it works really, really well. So the first point, just go ahead and mirror me, is on the side of the hand. You can do either side, it doesn't matter. You can actually switch. I would kind of intuitively see what your body wants to do. The meridians that the Chinese medicine is working from run on both sides of the body. So just start here on the side of the hand. And the basic process is going to look like this. We're going to state the problem. So in this case, it's going to be fear. So we'll say something like, even though I have this fear, and then we'll follow it with an affirmation. So it'll be something like, I accept myself anyway. We're going to get through this. We're all in this together. It's going to be okay. In this moment, I'm safe, that kind of thing, okay? So we'll do that 3 times starting on the side of the hand. So we'll just start with fear. And then as we get going, we're going to go to the top of the head and just say a shorter version of that. So we'll just say this fear, okay? And then on the inside of the eyebrow. Now, there is the third eye point here. This is a great one for trauma. So if you can kind of get both at the same time, but we are trying to get this point right here. In Chinese medicine, this is a bladder point. This is an emotional containment point. So the more we can stimulate that, it helps kind of move those emotions through so we're not carrying it around, feeling stifled by them. And then on the outside of the eye, so we'll just say this fear. And then under the eye, this fear. This is a stomach point, which is a great fear point. And then under the nose, this fear. And then on the chin, this fear. And again, we're just sending a calming signal through our nervous system. That's why we can feel it. That light touch is just a nice calming signal that breaks up the brain waves, the thought patterns in the brain, travels all the way through the nervous system, so it, it connects with our brain and our body, brings it all back together. And then under the collarbone here. So this is, if you were to tie a tie right here, go down about 1.5 inches and over to the side, there is about another 1.5 inches. There's a hollow under the collarbone there that sometimes a little bit tender, actually can be very tender. This is another great stress point. So you're just trying to get under that hollow there. Now I do teach people, if you carry a lot of stress in your chest, you can kind of do a flat hand right here, and that will help that. I mean, I just took a deep breath hitting that point. Feels so good, but I carry a lot of stress right there. So you can kind of get both points at the same time. And then under the arm. So this is nipple line and under the armpit. Again, if you rub under there, that's a spleen point in Chinese medicine, and it's a great stress point. Okay, and then we'll just take a big deep breath. Okay, so I didn't mention this before, but it is really, really important. Of course, we are touching our face. You do not have to touch your face. If you want to just tap right here or under the collarbone, those are great. You're still going to be getting that calming signal going all the way through your nervous system. If you're feeling like you want to tap on the face, because those points are so powerful, wash your hands. I would even recommend washing your face as well. The same due diligence that you're using everywhere else, wash, 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 okay? Use your own discernment, use your own judgment. This is the tapping protocol, but I know we're being instructed to not touch our face, so that is completely up to you, okay? So let's do another round. Actually, before we do that, I want you to just go ahead and close your eyes and really let yourself get in touch with the anxiety, the fear, and I want you to really tune into what you're feeling in your physical body, okay? How has this been showing up for you? This fear of uncertainty, fear of the unknown, fear of getting sick. And just tune into your body and see where that shows up for you. And even if it's really, really slight, some of you will connect to that right away. You'll go, oh my gosh, I feel like I can't take a deep breath. Some of you might not feel anything at all, and there's a few reasons for that. The biggest reason is that you maybe have had, some stress in your life, maybe in childhood, some traumas that you actually dissociated from your body so that you didn't have to feel the pain associated with it. You might also be a personality or an archetype that naturally lives up in the head. So these can be very, very smart people, very highly spiritually wired people can actually disconnect from their body and live way up in the head. So, there's a couple reasons for that. Tapping is something that will drop you back into your body. So as we start tapping, if you start to feel more, it's okay. I don't want you to panic. That's actually, it means that you're coming back into connection with your body, and that's actually a really good thing because now you can feel it. It doesn't have to scream at you quite as loud as it has been. And you can actually use the tapping to start to do the processing from there, okay? So I want you to tune into your body, tune in. Are you feeling tightness in your chest? Are you feeling tightness in your stomach, maybe in your shoulders? And this fear. And we're just gonna start doing some tapping, voicing the general fear. Now tapping works the best when you can focus in on specific things. So really focus in on your body and what you're feeling physically, and we'll start there, okay? And I'm gonna voice some of the things that I know that people have been feeling lately. So just tap on the side of the hand and repeat after me. Even though I have this stress, even though I have this fear, right here in this moment, tapping on my body, I'm okay. Even though I'm so afraid, this thing is crazy, I'm so afraid of what could happen, I accept myself anyway. Even though I have so much fear and it's coursing through my body, right here in this moment, even if it's just for a few seconds, I'm gonna let my nervous system stand down so I can feel safe. Okay, and just go to the top of the head. All this fear, on the inside of the eyebrow, all this fear. And on the outside of the eye, all this fear. And under the eye, all this fear. And under the nose, all this fear. Under the chin, all this fear. under the collarbone, all this fear. And then under the arm, this fear. Okay, so take a big deep breath. Now I should have had you rate that fear on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the most intense it's been maybe in your life, and given it a number before we tapped. Now what we're trying to do again is we're trying to break the charge and the physical connection to the fear and to the stressful thoughts. So I want you to kind of feel into your body. Signs that the tapping is working and that you're starting to relax would be taking a deep breath, feeling your muscles relax, feeling some tingling kind of down your legs and in your body, even sneezing. I often sneeze when I'm releasing something. Sneezing, yawning is a great release that we see. So anything where you feel like you're taking a deep breath and yawning can show you that you're moving some of that stress out. Some of that energy is moving out, okay? So go ahead and check in with that number, and if it was a 10 before, just see if that stress has come down at all. Now some of you will say no, it hasn't, and that's okay. We're just getting started. Today what I'm trying to do is kind of bring you back into the present moment, help you feel safe even if it's just for a few minutes, and you know, sometimes this is a much bigger story unfolding. Like I said earlier, if you are feeling a lot of panic, feeling powerless, this might be connected and drawing you all the way back into a trauma where you felt completely trapped and isolated and powerless. And what would really need to happen from here is that you need to hire, you know, myself or someone else. There's a ton of tapping experts all over the world, so hire somebody to help you with that original trauma, and that's where you're going to get the biggest stress relief for the now, okay? But for today, we're just trying to kind of bring back into the present moment and do what we can, what I call over-the-counter tapping, which is just like, things are crazy right now, and I'm trying to come back in my body and be present so that I can get through my day, okay? So let's do another round here. Start tapping on the side of the hand, and I want to really focus in on the idea of that powerlessness, okay? That like there's nothing I can do kind of feeling. So I want you to just go ahead and tune in with that, see where that shows up in your body, the fear, the anxiety that might go along with that powerlessness. And just feel that. A lot of times that's a very heavy feeling. So go ahead and just tune in with that and tap on the side of the hand, and we're just gonna voice it, okay? Even though I feel powerless and I can feel it in my entire body, I feel frozen. Everything's tight. Right here in this moment, even if it's just for a few minutes, I know I'm safe. Even though I feel totally powerless, and I can feel that in my entire body, and it's so heavy, I deeply and completely honor my real feelings, and I'm working on feeling safe. Even though I feel powerless against this virus, I don't know what to do. Right here in this moment, even if it's just for a few seconds, I know I'm safe. And I choose to let my nervous system stand down so that I can actually have those resources and funnel it towards my immune system. Okay, so just go to the top of the head. This powerlessness, there's nothing I can do. On the inside of the eyebrow, this powerlessness, I can feel it in my entire body. The outside of the eye, feel completely powerless. There's nothing I can do. And under the eye, this powerlessness, I don't know what to do. And under the nose, I feel totally powerless. On the chin, I feel powerless. There's nothing I can do. Under the collarbone, this powerlessness. There's nothing I can do. So I want you to just take a big deep breath. Just check in with your body. And hopefully what's happening is as you're voicing those things, I would like to encourage you to say these things out loud because it helps kind of move the energy out. There's something about putting it out there in reality, putting it out there outside of, you know, inside of you that helps just kind of move it through. All by itself, that's why talk therapy is so helpful. But as we voice it and we tap at the same time, there's really a different level of resetting the nervous system. So I want you to just tune back in with your body and see 0 to 10 if that physical activation to those words is starting to come down at all. Okay. Now the other thing I want to mention is that, going back to what I said earlier, is that this whole thing that's happening is absolutely going to be triggering us back into old trauma. So as we start to tap, things will start to pop into your mind, and sometimes it's about here and now. So it might be about something you just saw in the news, something that someone said, a conversation that you had with someone, current things that have happened recently can start popping into your mind. So those are things to write down. Those are moments in time that you can use tapping later to actually desensitize and re-regulate your nervous system connected to that memory. The other thing that can happen is that older things where you have felt these similar emotions, where you felt the same thing, are going to be brought to the surface. So this is where the deeper work comes in, and the silver lining in all of this is that if we can really lean in and get curious, we can actually unearth a lot of unhealed spaces inside of us that are coming to the surface, asking to be healed and honored. And we are actually primed and ready right now, as we're in this fear, to reset our nervous system in a major way if you can do it through a process like tapping. So if for some reason all of a sudden like a parent is flashing through your mind, or you're having flashes of an old memory, write that down. That's not what this what these 5 days are about, but that would be something where you could follow my page, maybe sign up for some one-on-one sessions. I've got an introduction to EFT course where I'll be talking more about how to use tapping for memories. Actually, I've got a video that I'll probably share for how to do that. But that's where you get the biggest reset in your nervous system. You're actually going to feel your nervous system and your stress level drop rapidly and actually stay down at that reset low point, okay? But write those things down. Anything that comes up is significant. That's your mind's way of saying, hey, pay attention to this. This is really important, and it's connected to what you're dealing with right now, okay? But for now, I want you to just come back to the present moment. And if those things are coming up, we're going to actually kind of start to distance that a little bit, okay? So tap on the side of the hand with me again, okay? And I want you to just start to connect with the idea that, we might be connecting to some older traumas, some older wounding, emotional wounding, physical wounding that might be connected to what's going on right now. And just repeat after me, okay? Even though I have all this stress and it reminds me of a time in the past, that was then and this is now, and I'm choosing to be present now. Even though I have all this stress and I can see how I might be connected to the past, that was then and this is now, and I can come back to that later. But right now, in this moment, tapping on my hand, I know that I'm safe. And even though I have all this stress, all this fear, these powerless feelings, and I can see that it might be related to the past, I'm breaking that connection now. I'll come back to it when the time is right, and I choose to be present in my body now. I honor the past, but that was then and this is now, and in this moment, even if it's just for a few minutes, I'm going to let my nervous system stand down so that I can feel safe, okay? And just go to the top of the head. This stress connected to my past, and the inside of the eyebrow, all this stress connected to my past, but that was then and this is now, and in this moment, tapping on my body, I'm letting my nervous system stand down. Outside the eye, all this stress. I can see how it's bringing up the past. I honor it, and now I know it's there. But in this moment, I'm okay. I'm under the eye. It doesn't feel okay, because the world is crazy out there. But just for a few minutes, I choose to let my nervous system stand down, to let my body relax, and I choose to feel safe. Under the nose. All this fear, all this stress, I can see how it's connected to the past and how it's bringing it all up again. And the chin, and that was then and this is now. And I choose to be present. Let my nervous system stand down, disconnect from the past, disconnect from the future, and be present now. Under the collarbone, all this stress, all this fear, all this worry, disconnecting from the past, disconnecting from the future, so I can be present now. And under the arm, all this fear and all this stress. I can see how it's related to the past. But that was then and this is now. And in this moment, I'm safe. Okay, take a big deep breath. And just see how that feels in your body. Okay, now hopefully, even if it's only dialed down from a 10 to a 9, you can feel just a little bit of that charge coming down. Okay, now the best way to continue tapping on your own is to actually pull out a piece of paper, and I want you to start writing down all the reasons that fear, that stress, that worry is coming up. Okay, so I'm afraid that I'm going to get sick. I'm afraid I'm going to get someone else sick. I'm afraid I'm not handling this correctly. I'm afraid I could die. I know that seems scary to get in touch with, but if you can actually tap and say those things, you're actually going to feel less afraid of it. It's going to bring you back into the current moment, and you're going to go, okay, I still see the fear and I honor it, but I'm not feeling it inside like that's actually going to happen, okay? It just brings you back into the current, into the present moment, and helps you reset. So go ahead and pull out a piece of paper, start to write those things down, start to write down the worries, and there is your tapping script. That's what I want you to voice. Now people will go, oh my God, no, I'm voicing these negative things. I don't want to call that in. I don't want to manifest that. But tapping works in a different way. So if you're somebody who uses something like the law of attraction, or if you've used affirmations, positive psychology, it feels really scary to voice the negative. But there's a very specific reason we do this with tapping. We are actually drawing up that real feeling that's in the subconscious because you're human, because you are a primal animal. That fear is very natural and normal. That anger is very natural and normal, and it brings it up in a really productive way. And while we voice it with the tapping, it actually moves the energy out so that you're not just holding, suppressing, repressing, denying, and it actually moves it through and out of your system, and actually allows your nervous system to reset so that you're not just holding those emotions in an unconscious place or in a conscious place, but it actually allows it to move up and out and through, okay? Now you have to get an experience with this before you're gonna believe me, but with tapping, the most powerful place is actually doing the negative tapping first. After you do the negative tapping and you actually feel that charge start to come down, that's when you can actually supercharge the positive affirmations, and you're going to get a whole lot more out of it. You're actually going to feel that more organically rather than just thinking it, rather than just thinking the affirmations. You're actually going to feel through your entire system, oh my gosh, I am safe, I am loved, I am guided, I am protected, everything's working out the way that it's supposed to. God is with me, the universe is with me, the universe has my back. That stuff all starts to feel organic inside when we're not just thinking it with our head, and we're actually moving it all the way through the body. So tap on the negative first, write those things down. That is your tapping script. And then when you feel that charge start to come down, that's what I want you to bring in those affirmations. Maybe pull out, if you have Louise Hay's books, get online and look up some of the affirmations and just say things like, I am safe. I'm safe. My body is strong. My immune system is strong. I'm diverting those resources back to my immune system. I'm doing the best that I can. I would encourage each and every one of you to tap on that over and over again. I am doing the best that I can. With the resources that I have, with my life experience, I am doing the best that I can. I am loved. I am guided. Even if I don't understand it, it's all working out the way that it's supposed to. It is scary, but I'm going to be okay. It's all working out. My body is strong. My mind is strong. I'm taking care of myself. I'm so thankful that I can take care of myself. I'm present with my body. I'm present with my emotions. And in this moment, even if it's just for a few seconds, I choose to feel safe. Okay. And that's another phrase that I'd love for you to tap on over and over again, is just recognizing, because there's so much uncertainty right now. We don't know how this is going to play out. There are projections. It could be far worse than we can imagine. It could be far less than we could imagine. We just don't know. There's so many things that we don't know about this virus. But if you can just give your mind permission, give your nervous system permission to say, I don't know what's going to happen, but even if it's just for a few minutes, I choose to let my nervous system stand down. I choose to feel safe for 5 minutes. I choose to feel safe for 30 seconds. And just sit with that. After you do the tapping, just sit with it and go, whew, okay, I'm just going to be here and be present for a few minutes. And if you can stretch that out to 10 or 15 minutes, or 20 minutes, or 30 minutes, that's 30 minutes where your body is going to be diverting those resources towards rebuilding cells, towards your gut, so that you can actually digest food, so that you can, towards our immune system, so that we can actually fight these nasty bugs that are floating around, okay? So it is hard. It is hard with uncertainty, and I am honoring that, because it is absolutely a tough thing to snap out of when such big stuff is kind of swirling around with so much uncertainty. But I want to challenge you to do that. Challenge your mind to do that. Challenge your body to do it, and see how it feels, okay? The other thing that you can tap on, and we can do that right now, is just how hard it is. Voicing your true feelings. It's hard to feel safe right now, right? So we'll just go ahead and do that. Even though it's hard to feel safe right now, I accept myself anyway, okay? Even though it's so hard to feel safe right now, with all this uncertainty, I accept myself anyway. Even though it is so hard to feel safe right now, I honor that truth, and I wonder if I could do it anyway, because I know that my body would benefit from it. Okay, and on top of the head, it's hard to feel safe. Inside of the eyebrow, it's so hard to feel safe. Outside of the eye, it doesn't feel safe. There's too much going on. And under the eye, it is so hard to feel safe right now. And under the nose, it is so hard to feel safe right now. On the chin, it is so hard to feel safe right now. Under the collarbone, it is so hard to feel safe right now. And under the arm, it is so hard to feel safe right now. Okay, we're going to follow it up with some positive tapping. Okay, it is hard to feel safe right now, but I choose to let my nervous system stand down inside the eyebrow, even if it's just for a few minutes. I'm going to allow myself to feel peace, allow myself to feel calm, and allow myself to feel stillness. And on the outside of the eye, it is so hard to feel safe. There's so much fear and uncertainty. And I honor that truth, but I choose to let my nervous system stand down and let my mind feel calm, even if it's just for a few minutes. Under the eye, because I know that's what's best for me. I feel afraid, but just for a few minutes, I allow myself to feel safe. And under the nose, I choose to feel safe so that my immune system can come back online. The chin, I choose to feel safe. Even if it's hard, I choose to let myself feel safe just for a few minutes, maybe even an hour. And under the collarbone, I choose to feel safe. And under the arm, even though it's really hard to feel safe right now, I'm working on it. I'm working through it. And just for a few minutes, I'm going to let my nervous system stand down. Okay, now take another big deep breath. And just see what that feels like. And if you're starting to feel calmer, I want you to just sit in that peace. sit in that vibration. I mean, you can usually start to feel your body kind of vibrating and tingling. Just sit with that. See how long you can stay with it. Okay? There's so much uncertainty, but we can do things to bring in that calm and that safety and that peace of mind just for little bits of time. And then we can challenge ourselves to go a little bit longer and a little bit longer. Okay. Now that brings me to another point that I really want to make sure that people kind of take home. And that is that while I want everyone to stay informed, and of course this is going to be your personal decision, there is a level of repeated trauma that can come with watching the news. Okay, so if you are insistent on watching the news, I would highly recommend tapping at the same time, especially if you're someone that's sensitive like me that can watch something and just like feel my chest tighten just by hearing people say things. Now, yes, do I want the information? I absolutely do, okay? However, if it's doing more harm than it is good, I want you to just kind of recognize that. While you're watching the news, absolutely pick a point and just start tapping. Okay, that will help keep you grounded in your body. It helps your nervous system and your body kind of work some of those stress hormones through, move some of that stress energy through. But I would recommend that you set a goal, set a limit on how much you're doing it. You know, being frozen in front of the television for 6, 7, 8 hours a day is like repeated trauma over and over again. It's not the best thing that you can do for yourself. I understand why it's happening, but we can all be a little more conscious of it and maybe just say, okay, I'm gonna check in with the news. I'm gonna give myself an hour a day, 30 minutes a day to get the present information and then move on. And I'm gonna do the things that I know actually help me and are actually gonna help me feel empowered. I'm gonna move my body. I'm gonna keep exercising every single day, because the more I do that, the stronger I am, the more endorphins I release, the more empowered I feel. It's actually better for our immune system, right? Exercising helps move lymph through our body, helps keep our filters nice and clean. I'm gonna stay hydrated. Again, that helps just everything work better in the body. I'm going to use my essential oils. If you're an essential oils person, you know, when we're locked in front of the television, we're not taking action in these ways. I'm gonna take my vitamins and minerals and do what I can on that end to, you know, to help my body out as much as I can. I'm gonna eat nutritious foods. I'm gonna stay present with my family. When we're locked in front of the television in fear, we're not present with our children, we're not present with our spouses. And that disconnection only fuels and throws fire on the isolation, right? So let's play games, let's get together and do crafts, let's, you know, paint, let's draw, let's color, let's play tic-tac-toe, whatever it is. But stay connected with your family, okay? The other thing I wanna mention, and I think I'm gonna do a whole nother video on this, but let's do what we can to be there for our children, because they're especially prone to being wired to feel fear after this experience. Their nervous systems are very, very plastic. Actually, everyone has a plastic nervous system, which means that it changes and can be evolving. But when we're young, oh my gosh, it is like we're laying down the foundation of what we're gonna be for the rest of our life. So be present with your children, make eye contact with them. If we are too far into fear and uncertainty, we are head spinning, we are up in our upper chakras, we're not down in our body, we're not present with people, right? We're like thinking about a million things, but not being present with the people in front of us. And our children really need us right now to just talk to them, be honest with them. You know, if that's what you feel like is the best thing to do, teach them how to tap. Kids don't have the years of suppressing their emotions, so they shift very quickly. Give them permission. The best way to do it is to just ask them what they're afraid of. And I just did this with my son this morning, and his first answer, I was shocked, was, I'm afraid for our pets. And I went, oh my God, it never occurred to me, but he's afraid that they're not gonna have food, which I think is a legitimate fear, that at some point that could be an issue. But anyway, you know, their minds are working too, and they're playing things out. And he said, yeah, he's like, I'm afraid, Mom. So we're gonna do some tapping when he gets home from school today. And you know, be there with your kids, experiment with the tapping with them, ask them, you know, when they feel afraid, ask them where they feel it in their body, because they are still very, very connected usually with their body. And you can help them, you know, just have them tap and say, even though I feel this fear in my stomach, I accept myself anyway. Okay, you can tap on them depending on the age. You know, usually, I mean, I still tap on my 9-year-old. He's absolutely capable of doing it himself and mirroring me, but sometimes it works best to just have him lay down in front of me and I just tap on the points for him and ask him, how do you feel? How do you feel? And he'll say, I'm scared. Okay, scared. What are you scared of? And I just keep asking him questions and I keep tapping on the points. Okay, you're scared, you're scared. Where do you feel that in your body? Okay, I feel it in my stomach. I feel it in my back. Everything's tight. And I just keep tapping on him, tapping, tapping, tapping. And what you'll see with tapping is that while we start with fear and the fear starts to come down, another emotion will pop up in its place. So a lot of times when fear starts to come down, all of a sudden there's some sadness that will break through, or anger or frustration. Okay, great. We're moving through the different layers of emotions. We are like onions, just like in Shrek, ogres are like onions. Humans are like onions. There's these layers of emotions that kind of lay on top of each other and coexist at the same time. But as we move through one, another one will pop up in its place and you just tap on that. Okay, what are you angry about? Oh, I'm angry that I can't go to school. I'm angry that I can't play my sports. I'm angry, you know, these are the kinds of things that they would say. I'm angry that you guys are watching the news all the time, whatever it is that comes up. So you tap through the anger and then maybe some sadness breaks through. Okay, what makes you sad about that? I just keep asking the things that keep kind of bringing forward these natural emotions. So just keep asking, how does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? And there is nothing more bonding than helping your child through their fear. Letting them have it, letting them have their sadness, letting them be in their emotions. And then they're not fighting against them, and then you're not fighting against them either, right? Like there's always those times when we have to be like, all right, get it together. You've got to turn that off. We've got to go to school. We've got to get our life together, right? We have to learn to emote and release, but also learn to contain when that's appropriate. We have to be able to do both, okay? So tapping with your children is a great way to let them move that through and emote, and then they're not in battle with it. They're just kind of like, oh yeah, there that was. Kids usually tap on their emotions and then they hop up and run away. I'm like, whoa, that was crazy. That happened so fast. Okay, so I think that's it for today. Keep tapping on your fear. Notice where you feel it in your body. Honor it. Take note of the things, the times when you felt like this before. It is connected to your past. I would venture to say for 100% of people, this is going to be connecting to old past emotional wounding, physical wounding, times when we felt powerless, times when we felt angry because people weren't listening, times when we were angry with the government because we felt like they weren't taking care of us. So start to recognize where these things are actually still connected to the past. I will post a video on how to use tapping for specific emotions. I'm sorry, for specific memories, so that you can start to work through some of those memories on your own. This is an important time to say that tapping goes very deep very quickly, so I don't want you working on like what we call a big T trauma, which is a time when you actually felt like your life was in danger. So if you had a big major car accident, you had a sexual assault, if you had repeated child abuse, as you know, in your younger years, those are not the things that you really want to work on your own. You want to hire somebody to work with on those because you can't actually re-traumatize yourself. But you know, memories and emotions where you're on a 0 to 10, it's like a 5 or a 6 charge. You can usually work on those on your own, okay? So I'll post that video on how to work through specific memories, and just keep tapping on that fear. I will be back. I'm going to post some tapping scripts, probably do a Facebook Live tomorrow. So I'll post the time for that. I think I'm probably going to do it around noon Central Time. But we'll just kind of go from there. Please comment and let me know, you know, specifically what's up for you, and I will arrange the tapping as much as I can to help you. And be there on the live, because the more feedback I get, the more I can cater the tapping specifically for you in that moment and the best results you're going to get. If you want more information on tapping, you want to dig in deeper, I would recommend checking out the Tapping Solution. They've got a million free resources. They have a meditation out right now for anxiety for coronavirus. Check out Peta Stapleton, who is a psychologist or maybe a psychiatrist, I'm not sure, but she's one of the experts in the world that's doing research on tapping right now, so she's got a lot of kind of that sciencey stuff if you're into that. But yeah, you can check out EFT Universe, has a lot of great free resources. You can head over to my website, kellyhowecoaching.com. You'll find some stuff over there. And I guess that's it for today. So please comment below. Let me know if that was helpful. You know, where you're feeling things in your body, how you felt the tapping, you know, if you felt it working, if you didn't feel it working, you know, that kind of stuff. I just want to hear what's up for you guys. And what are your biggest emotions going on right now so that I can help cater the future tapping over the week to help you specifically. Okay. Much love to you guys. We really are in this together, and I look forward to seeing you over the week and helping you all process your stress as I'm processing mine, because the struggle is real, right? But sending you all love. I'll see you tomorrow. Mwah!